Welcome back. On the last video, I told you we were going to do 2 worksheets, and I changed my mind because that one took long enough that I think that'll be enough for one day. And so we're going to move on to this next one now. And we're talking about color schemes or color harmonies. You did a monochromatic color scheme, an analogous color scheme, and a complementary color scheme using acrylic paints. Now you're going to do it using watercolor, but you're just going to paint some little tiny squares that show that you don't have to do tints, tones, and shades of it. And so the monochromatic color scheme, I'm going to have you put the color where it goes on the color wheel. So I'm going to paint one little tiny spot right here, violet. Whoa, that is not intense enough. So I got to get some violet out of here. I got to soak that up because that's going to run everywhere. Water's splashing out. Okay, so some good intense paint. Paint that violet right there. And that's kind of boring. Let's paint it all violet.
Forget where it goes on the color wheel. There's their example.
Let's paint all of it violet. Change my mind. You go right around, paint the whole thing violet. This will give you practice using this big brush to paint in little spots. So you can learn to control the amount of water in your brush. This is good practice, holding steady. You can change the value if you want, because of monochromatic color scheme, you can change the value. So let's do some tints. We won't do any shades, but we'll do some tints. A little bit of water. Yeah, I don't want too much in my brush, so I'm going to roll my brush to try to bring it to a little bit of a point so that I can stay inside those lines. That shape looks bigger than the last one I painted. That's weird. So I'm painting some lighter ones. As the water leaves my brush, it might get lighter and lighter and lighter. But we'll just have one color on the whole color wheel. I'm gonna add some more water, make it even lighter. Do those last 3 really high value, last 2. That's a monochromatic color scheme, one color, tints, tones, and shades of one color. Some of those are not very even.
Is that tints, tones, and shade?
One color. If you add black, it's a shade. If these are tints, and these are just tints of one color. But a monochromatic color scheme, you can also have shades. So an analogous color schemes are 3 colors next to each other on the color wheel. So we could do blue, and blue would go right here. And then we could paint violet where violet goes. Let me get some water out of that brush so I can get some intense violet. Good, intense, dark, intense violet right there. And now we're gonna have to make some blue violet. That's not working very good. These are little, this is good practice, trying to stay inside the lines. Try your best to stay inside those lines. So the other color is going to be blue violet. So I'm going to get some blue. I'm going to add it to this violet. We're going to make a blue violet color. Blue and violet together. That color right there, blue violet. Oh wow, I put blue in a different place, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to paint this blue violet right here. That looks an awfully lot like blue. Let's add a little more violet to it. And we're going to paint it right over here on the other side of this. And then blue would go here, and blue violet would go here. And then violet will go here, so blue violet will go there. So every other one of these is going to be blue violet. Oh, it doesn't work out right. Look at that. Okay, so now I'm going to put
It does. If you do blue violet right there, because you have blue right there. Oh yeah.
This is going to be blue. Then we have blue violet. And then we're going to have violet.
Oh, violet. Yeah, I got it. Ignore Mrs. Hunt, guys.
Oh, how did I get blue? I thought I was getting violet.
Messing up, Mr. Hunt.
Nope, you're not messing me up. I'm just going to ignore you when you're wrong. Just gonna pretend I didn't.
We'll
hear
try
you.
not to do a comedy show to you guys too much.
Yeah. So violet here, blue there. Put violet here. Oh, there is a spot for blue violet right there. Look at that.
Oh, who's wrong?
Maybe I was wrong. I could have been wrong. I'm gonna put some violet on this one because it's kind of a tint. We want to get it good and intense. So then we can put blue here. No, that puts blue there. Oh, blue violet there. That's right. So there's my blue violet. I still got some of it. Let's put the blue violet here. That's a tint of blue violet. It's not very dark. It'll work. And right here we have violet, we have blue violet, we need blue right there. Nice intense mixture of blue. So that right there would be an analogous color scheme. Analogous means similar. These colors are all related to each other. You use the blue to make the violet, and you use the blue and the violet to make the blue violet. Next is complementary. Let's do red and green. So I'm going to get an intense mixture of red. Find an empty spot there. If you don't have an empty spot, you'll have to make it. And it doesn't matter where you put this because we're going to paint the whole thing red and green. Red, red. Actually, we're not. You know what we're going to do? Let's paint this one over here red. And then we'll paint some greens. And then we're going to make some neutrals out of red and green because a complementary color scheme, you can have semi-neutrals and neutrals that are made out of red and green that are part of this color scheme. So we'll paint some reds on there, and then we'll paint some greens on there. Oh, my green's not wet. We get some water in that green, get it soaking up here. We'll get a little bit of green out, and we'll get a little bit of red out. And we're going to make a color that is a semi-neutral green. Green with a little bit of red. Now we're going to do one that's red with a little bit of green. It's still going to be a semi-neutral. It's going to be a red with a little bit of green. We'll put it here, and I'll stick it somewhere else too. This video is going to go long if I don't hurry. Put it there. So I'm going to add a little bit more green. Make ooh, that's another semi-neutral green. So I'll paint that in another spot. And I'm going to try to make a brown before I finish here. So there's a couple of spots of that. Now if I add enough red to this green that doesn't look red or green, that's almost it right there. That's probably close. Well, maybe that right there. Let's stick that one right between these two. That's pretty neutral right there. And then we need some pure green on there. So I'll clean my brush out. Get this out. We'll get some pure green. We'll get some bright green in here. And if you put red and green next to each other, right next to each other, that'll create a point of interest. And we learned about that on the principles of design foldable. But where that red and green are right next to each other, that's your focal point that pulls it out of there. So split complement. It's where you do, this one we're not going to do the whole thing. We're going to shorten these up for these last two. We're going to put red right here where it is on this worksheet right here. We're going to put red right there. And if we go across to red's complementary color, that would be green. And we're not going to use green. We're going to use yellow green and blue green. So I'm going to get some green out. We'll add some yellow to it. We'll make it yellow green. And yellow green is going to go right here. Well, let's add some more yellow to it. So a nice yellow green right there. And then we're going to make some blue green. So we're splitting on the two sides of the complementary color. And we do a yellow green and a blue green. So you have your painting would be mostly those three colors if you did that. And if you want, you can go ahead and color the rest of this using those three colors. But that shows you the split complement comes across and it splits right there. So you can just do it like that if you want to. Triadic color scheme. Yellow.
What does triadic mean, Mr. Hunt?
It means there's three, but they're three equally spaced colors on the color wheel. Triadic color scheme, there's three colors that are an equal distance from each other on the color wheel. So it's a triangle, the ends of a triangle. So we have yellow, red, and blue. Blue's going to be right here. So it makes a triangle. Triadic color scheme. Now let's go down to the warm and cool colors. Yellow is the color of the sun, and the sun is warm.
You're at 12 minutes.
Okay, so yellow. I'm going to go fast. You can color these whole guys in. I'm going to go fast. Orange. It's going to go right here. And we'll put red down there on the end. Go ahead and paint the guy's hat and his face and the whole thing. I'm running out of time. So I'm just going to paint his little chest right here. There's the red. Oh, that's not going to work. I did that wrong. So you can make some red orange. You can make some yellow orange. Just want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different warm colors. Those two are not the same. Close to the same, but not the same. So cool colors. Here we go, the other end of the color wheel, the other end of the painting tray. Start with some blue. We'll add some blue-green. Oh, that's blue-blue-green. Not much green in that. Then we're going to add some green to that. Get us a blue-green. Some green-green. Some green with a little more yellow in it. Maybe more of a green-green. That might just be a tint there of that last color. And there's some yellow-green right there. Need more yellow in it, but that's got orange in it too. Wow, messy paints. I'm gonna have to clean those when I'm done. Make sure that you don't let your paints dry while they're dirty. Make sure you clean them out. I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. You put some water in there. You take a paper towel and just soak the water out of there. If it still looks a little bit dirty, you can see a little bit down in there that's still a little bit dirty. Get some more water down in there. Roll your brush around a little bit. Swab that out one more time. Make sure all your paints are clean when you finish using them so that the next time you can have clean paints, because if you don't do it now, it's hard to clean them later. So you can paint these whole guys, but this is enough for a day. So take your time. This will take you twice as long or 3 times as long as it took me, and it took me 15 minutes. So that's good for today.
Do you want all these squares filled in, Mr. Hunt?
I don't care. I do on these, but on those two, you can do them just like I did them. Or if you want, you can fill them all in with just those colors. Okay? Hasta luego.